Okay guys, welcome to my how to hold videos. In this video we'll be looking at cache, and we'll be looking at the squeaky area and the A side of cache. So the squeaky area, which is also known as the blue door, is this area on the map at the far left. So we'll be covering timings, angles, positions, grenade usages, pushing, and terraced afterplant positions as well, both for the A site and for the squeaky area. So let's have a look at the area of the map we're going to be talking about. So it's the top section and the bit that points out towards the top right we'll be looking at. So it's squeaky and the A site in reference to squeaky, and this is going to be from attacks from the squeaky section. We'll be mainly focusing on inside squeaky and just outside the door, because once they're outside they're pretty much on the A site, and again attacks from squeaky only. We will not be focusing on either attacks from a main itself, as this is done in another video, or from highway, as this is also done in another video, both from the middle video and from the A main video itself. So first let's look at timings. We're going to look at counter terrace timings, and the meeting angle. So for counter terrace to get in, open squeaky and come just inside the door, it takes them 14 seconds for a good spawn. So it's quite an aggressive position. For terrorists to get to the point where they'll be watching the door, it takes them 13 seconds. So it actually takes them less time. But so you can be aggressive if you want, if you think they have a bad spawn. But apart from that, you probably want to play defensive and not push into squeaky. Now let's have a look at angles. We're going to look at aggressive angles and defensive angles. So you can go aggressive into squeaky, or you can just hold the door, or you can hold just out of the door and then onto the site itself. Not many angles. Let's have a look at positions though. We're going to have aggressive, defensive, one kill, and AWPing positions. So you can hold inside squeaky, you can hold at the MBK corner or quad, on site itself looking at squeaky, couple positions around highway. You can also hold at the heaven area, and then at the toxic barrels, or at the forklift as well. And you can also hold in the boost spot or the shroud spot, whatever you want to call it. So inside squeaky, very aggressive. Here MBK, it's very passive. You're going to be waiting for them to get on site, you can't really get any info. This is an okay position for holding squeaky. And then highway is more of a rotational position, but it's quite good. Just be careful if they open squeaky, you're an easy target. Same with the heaven area here. And toxic, you got no cover, but it's just a rotational position mainly. And forklift is decent because you can split between holding squeaky and holding A main. And then shroud position is decent. If you've got someone holding A main, you can watch squeaky, or vice versa. AWPing positions, really at MBK you can AWP if you're kind of AWPing A main at the same time. Highway you can also AWP as a rotational, you can pop people coming through squeaky. And the heaven area as well. And also the toxic underneath the heaven area as well. Again, you got no cover here, so just be careful. Now grenade usages, we're going to look at smoke grenades, flash grenades, and incendiary grenades. So we'll start with the smokes. So you can pop a smoke here. I wouldn't really recommend it because it kind of tells you that you're in squeaky. So it kind of gives that away. But you can use it if you want to, if you just want to push further into squeaky. For the other smokes, you're really going to throw smokes once squeaky door has been opened. So these are all smokes done with squeaky door opened from the terrorist side. So you can pop a smoke in there just to act as the door-ish. From highway you can pop a smoke, so if they've opened squeaky door, spotted you on highway, if you peek again you're probably going to be dead, so you can just smoke it off them. Works quite nicely. And just got to make sure you watch all edges of the smoke if you do throw smokes, because they can sometimes allow the terrorist to get onto site if you're not watching it from the right angle. So heaven you can do the same. You're a little bit exposed when you throw this smoke. Same with the toxic, you can be a little bit exposed. So just make sure you do it quickly, or you're fully behind cover when you do it. And the more exposed you are, the better the smoke gets, or the better the smoke can get. From forklift you can just bounce the smoke off. This does come a bit close and can actually really allow them to get into sight if you're not watching it carefully. So you have to be exposed to watch that smoke, or you can just be exposed and throw the smoke. From shroud spot you can pop a smoke. This allows you to watch A main nicely, and they don't really be able to figure out where it comes from, and it blocks off really well. For flashbangs, these are going to be more useful. So if you want to push into squeaky, you might want to pop a flash, just one hitting the door, rolling down. This will get the terrorist coming in. If you kind of want to push in, but you want to do an underhand flash, not quite as useful, but this also can work. So if you want to fight over squeaky, you can use that kind of flash. If you're playing really aggressive, you want to push further than that, and you've got a good spawn, you can flashbang back way back here. This might allow you to get in. And this flash here can also work as well. Again, not particularly useful, but maybe if you've got one kill, you can pop this flash and then retreat. Remember K corner, once you hear Squeaky open, you can pop flashes. So you don't want to throw a flash when Squeaky's closed, obviously. So as soon as it opens, you can pop a flash to blind the person who opened it. Either you can do it high or low, depending on where you think the person is. So if they're down here, they won't see the high one, but they would see the low one. Sight, you can do the same. You can actually wait for Squeaky door to be open. The problem with this flash is it does kind of give your position away, and they can span through the door. This one here might work a bit better, and it pops it just in front, which is quite nice. Or you can use the wall here, just to throw a flash. This one doesn't give your position away as much, because they make think you're at quad, rather than you're on site. And then this flash here also probably doesn't give your position away as much, but they have to be close to the door for this one. Highway, you can do the same. Just flashbangs. This is going to be as far as you can really throw the flashbang without running, but it does work quite nicely. If you want to do a high one, you do a two-ended flash over the top of the hut. This does give your position kind of away, but you can actually use this flash to peek quite nicely. Heaven, just be wary when you throw this flash. You are a little bit exposed sometimes, but you can flash in front of toxic. If you don't want to be exposed at all, you can be a bit further back in heaven and just throw exactly the same kind of flash, and it flashes heaven side, so just be careful if you're going to peek after that. From toxic, if you don't want to be exposed, you can hit the edge of the railing from heaven, and it will flash people, and then you can peek across quite nicely, and it will not flash you because it will be bouncing to the right of the wall. If you're further back, you can throw a flash that lands on the barrels, two-handed flash bouncing off the walls, and they probably won't see this one coming. Or you can do a ground flash that bounces against the hut, depending on where you think they are. So this one won't hit the toxic, the other one won't hit the hut one. If you're at the forklift area, you can bounce it off the front. I wouldn't bounce it off the other side because they can see that one coming. However, you can do an underhand roll, so you can use this and then peek from forklift across. Or you can use this and get your teammate that's holding it quad or something to close the door, which is quite good because that kind of saves you a smoke or saves you some time. They got to reopen Squeaky. If you're at shroud spot or boost spot, I wouldn't recommend throwing flashes, but they can work. An underhand flash just popped over. This flash is probably more the recommended one, but you are exposed to A main when you throw it. This will bounce and they won't really be able to discern where this one's from. Molotovs can actually be a lot more useful because this kind of forces them back. This one here, it stops them pushing into Squeaky. Either you can hold position in Squeaky, or you can let them think you're holding position in Squeaky. From here it's not quite good. You can pop a flash that lands outside the door, unless you want to be super exposed. They still have control of Squeaky there. And again, outside the door. You kind of want to put the Molotov in so they can't see the door, so you can then run up and close the door without getting in the fire. But if you think they're going to rush, any of these Molotovs work. So just outside the door. This one here might work a bit better, but you are exposed still when you try to retreat out. So if you can get it deep in and exposed while you throw it, it would be a lot better. So like this one here, this one actually lands a bit out still. If you can throw this one further in, you'll be a lot better off, because then you won't be exposed when you try to rotate out of your position. As you can see here, highways being looked at from Squeaky. So mainly you want to use these Molotovs to stop them pushing in at A main and Squeaky at the same time, and Squeaky's a lot easier to Molotov than A main. From forklift, you can just bounce it off the boost spot there, and this is kind of the one you want to aim for. It's going to go deep in so they can't see out of the door unless they want to stand in the Molotov. So then you can then use that to rotate or close Squeaky. And then you can pop almost all of them out the front. And from shroud spot you can just do the underhand flash, bounce off the wall and land in. You can actually stand on that light just to be a different position if you want to once you're up at shroud spot. Now let's have a look at pushing. We're going to look at benefits and detriments of pushing. So you can push Squeaky two ways mainly. You can either push into A main, which is quite beneficial because then you can clear out A, and you can just say they're not going A and all your team can rotate to B. However, once you push out Squeaky, it can be dangerous because you're exposed to 3 angles at once, so just be careful when you push. But this does have a lot of benefits. Now if you're going to push Squeaky into middle, or into T-spawn, it's less beneficial, unless you can push into mid really quickly, and you can, once you're out Squeaky, you can tell if they're going to come A main, and if there's no one there, you can push into mid quite nicely. Let's have a look at terrorist up-spawn positions. So we're going to look at aggressive ones and defensive ones. So, super aggressive one at the truck, can hold quite nicely though. And then on site, this one's pretty aggressive and you can be spammed through the box. Quad's more your default position, but really strong, really good. Be wary of Molotovs. On site is decent, but a bit no cover. Forklift is quite a common spot. Again, be wary of Molotovs though. And then Squeaky, if the door opens towards you so they're opening to clear you out, you can see the bomb quite nicely. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.